Hey there, Postal here. So today I'm taking out the F5F. This is actually a relatively, I don't know if disparaged is the right word for it, but it's certainly unloved as a heavy fighter, and rightfully so. This is a very bad Tier 5 heavy fighter. Incredibly weak guns, although they have a very long burst length. Not overly quick, but quick enough. It's just super weak firepower is really what tends to get everybody up in arms about this plane. Well, so I've decided to show everybody how I play this plane. I actually quite enjoy the plane. The thing with it is, though, I don't play it like a heavy fighter. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean I have a very maneuverable fighter plane here. And this F5F actually has really good maneuverability. Multi-role maneuverability. It has very quick reload on the bombs. 1 minute. And that in combination, and with the weak guns, as you can see them being incredibly weak here, I don't play this like a heavy fighter. I play it like I will a reasonably maneuverable multi-role fighter. I'm not going to go get into a fight with the P40 or a Yak 9, but I will get, speaking of Yak 9s, I will go ahead and go after planes that I know I can outmaneuver. I tend to try to actually go for fighters because these weak guns are less weak against fighters because, you know, less HP. There we go. Let's try to drop some bombs here. I haven't dropped any bombs yet. Just drop them all because I got better things to focus on. And again, the good thing about these guns is at least they don't overheat. I'm gonna try to crash into that guy. Nope, didn't work. I actually used pneumatic control assist on this plane. Again, I've got it built as if I'm a multi-role fighter. And the thing with this plane on top of that is, ooh, hello. Oh, never mind. Is let's go ahead and see if I can boost away from a freaking P40. I can, but will I get away in time? I don't know. I've got the plane specialized. I did get away from him. So that gives me the ability to have the engine cooling and the manual engine restart. I highly recommend the manual engine restart. These engines are ginormous for the size of the plane, and they get knocked out all the dang time. My bombs are back, so that's cool. Let's go ahead and take advantage of that. I need to get my, nope, let's turn back around. Cut the corner here. See if I can't get this yak. Dang it. These weak guns. I completely get why people don't like this plane. For a heavy fighter especially, and there's so many strong heavy fighters at Tier 5, and then you get this thing. It's like, well, what? Two 23mm cannons, and they're American 23s, so they're not very strong. They're not even as strong as 20mm cannons, it feels like. But it's about not putting yourself in a position that you wouldn't want to put your multi-role fighter in. I don't go after ground attackers and bombers very often in this plane. Which is kind of a shame because heavy fighter, right? But the reality is if I did that, I would take forever to kill them and probably put myself at a significant disadvantage, right? And here we are sticking with the tornado. Yeah, it's a bot tornado, so it's not the most strongest tornado, but still, my point is, do that kind of stuff. Let me get my finger off the frickin' boost, because against a lot of these planes, my boost is what's going to save me. These two ginormous engines for such a small airframe does lead to some pretty good... in fact, it's got the best rate of climb for a Tier 5 heavy fighter. And so you've got that ability to really get away as needed in a boost type situation. Hang on. Multi-role fighter. So unfortunately, it leads to some kind of funky chevrons for this plane. Since it's a heavy fighter, it's built around, you get more chevrons for, like, you know, killing bombers and killing ground attackers. When in reality, this plane is pretty good at defending sectors. Simply because, and I'm going after a bomber here just to kind of show you how pathetic it can be. Knocked out his engines, boosting to stay with him a little bit more. Luckily, it's a Ju-88A, which is a very pathetic Tier 5 bomber. Luckily, they're both Ju-88As. That's nice to see. And we'll catch up to that. Let's get that pneumatic control. I mean, ooh. Do I? Can I? Can I sneak this away? It's on low health. It's low enough that even my piss poor guns can do something. Here we can use that maneuverability that we've got. Maybe I will get some chevrons. Huh. So Yak 1. Let's use some of that airspeed. Tap it, a tap, tap, tap. Again, you can just kind of hold it down. Because these guns take a while to overheat. Not as long as a 50 caliber machine gun, but certainly lasts longer than 20 millimeters at this tier. It's kind of one of the odd things about this plane is how long the guns actually last under constant firing.
Air supremacy achieved.
Let's move along.
Way to go.
See if we can't get that P-40 that tried to get me earlier. Again, with this plane, nobody's going to be like, damn, this is my favorite Tier 5 plane. With this plane, you've more than so many other planes in Tier 5. You've got to keep yourself out of danger. So yeah, I'm going to hit this guy. Oh, and he doesn't even know that I'm coming inbound, y'all. So luckily, he was so focused on the enemy, I was able to take advantage of that and come out on top. Is this a good plane? No, this is my first battle of the day. I'll probably try to play some other ones, see if I can get you guys a better battle, but this might be it. It shows you the weaknesses and the strengths of this plane, and luckily the enemies were obliged to ignore me. Except for once, but, you know, used your speed to get away. Let's head on back. Alright, so 13 kills, 1 ground target destroyed because I only dropped my bombs once. I honestly very often drop my bombs as often as possible. This game didn't really build around that, right? We captured all the sectors and left it at that. What I mean by that is in battles that are closer or that we're losing, I'm dropping these bombs all the time. They only take 60 seconds to reload. And I've actually got a very bad pilot in here for this plane now that I think about it. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So 13 air kills, 1 ground kill, 4 sectors captured. You're still wanting in that multi-role thought process. Still want to be capturing sectors more than defending sectors. I was only really defending at the end because why not? There was bombers, and bombers aren't really going to do much to you at Tier 5. Tier 6 you need to watch out for, and humans obviously you need to watch out for. Yeah, didn't have to deal with this Yak 9. Yak 9s can be a huge pain in the butt. He ignored me, so cool. We had a P-47 on our team. He did some work. I guess I was the only one above 8,000. Sorry, everybody. And so, yeah, I do not play this like a heavy fighter. You will be frustrated with this plane. Don't do it. Just when you get it, don't do it. You have 2 23mm cannons. 2. They've got mediocre range, 2,200 feet. They do okay damage. Not really, honestly. If you compare this to any of the other Tier 5 heavies, you're just going to be like, what the frick? So, don't play it like a heavy. You have great maneuverability, right? We've got a 12.5 second turn time. That's going to be better than a lot of the less maneuverable multi-role fighters at this tier. XP-44, for instance. FW-190, you're going to be able to stick with those planes. Obviously, you're not going to want to dogfight Corsairs. You're not going to want to dogfight Tornadoes typically. I just came out on top again in that interaction, but typically you don't go out of your way to look for those fights. that's when you treat yourself and use your boost. Treat yourself in heavy in those situations. But when you're going against anything that's less maneuverable than you, act like you're the multi-role fighter and take them on. Your airspeed's okay, as I mentioned, but what really stands out with your airspeed is actually your rate of climb. Your rate of climb is better than any other Tier 5 heavy fighter, and I'd have to do some comparison to see how it compares to some of the Tier 5 fighters, but you've got a lot of ability with that rate of climb. I very often actually will nose up and boost away. If I've already got a decent gap, I'll boost away. They'll try to follow me. You got a heavy fighter boost, so you've got 25 seconds worth of boost. They stall out, you turn back around, and your mediocre guns are still kicking their butt because they can't do anything. They're literally just floating in space as they stall out. The bombs, again, 60-second reload. I've got a bad pilot for this, and again, we'll talk about that in just a second. But being able to drop these 100-pound bombs, I typically just drop them all in one sector, unless it's, just got one little soft target or something like that. Then I will, maybe just drop one of the bombs. But with a 60-second reload and such a weak air-to-ground armament, just drop them all on one sector. Make sure that section of sector, and make sure that you get it, and then focus on your air-to-air capabilities at that time frame. And so, yeah, that's my thought process on this plane when it comes to its multi-rolliness. I forgot this. So this is my F7U pilot. Because the F5F is a premium plane, you can put whatever pilot you want in here. I was doing some experimentation with my F7U pilot and forgot that I didn't even have Demolition Expert on here. Because I do use the bombs as often as I do, I typically want to put a pilot in here that has Demolition Expert. This particular pilot has Resilience, Aerodynamics Expert, and Aerobatics Expert. And so, again, that's fine because you're in a multi-role fighter, not in a heavy fighter. Do not play this like a heavy fighter except in certain situations. If I was trying hard, I would have probably put Mary in here, but I didn't want to do a video with Mary as the pilot because her specials kind of throw everything out of whack in an F5F. What I mean by that is your bomb damage is significant at that point suddenly. You get more maneuverability and more damage with her specials, and so I didn't want to make the F5F look like an outstanding plane, and Mary would do that. I fly this plane with Mary quite a bit, and because she's a multi-role fighter pilot by trade, she fits in here really, really well, and is a significant improvement for the F5F. So I just wanted to put in any old random higher tier multi-role fighter pilot. I probably should have actually put in my like XP72 pilot or F84 pilots. Either one of these, because they've got that Demolition Expert, which is something that I would want to take advantage of. XP72 pilot wouldn't have been a bad option because he's also got Engine Guru 2. One of my few pilots that has Engine Guru 2 is my XP72. Anywho, so I would recommend having a Demolition Expert pilot just so you can get some extra damage from the bombs. It's not, obviously, as we saw in this game, it's not a necessity, but my thought process is put a good multi-role fighter pilot in your F5F and have that multi-role fighter personality, and you're going to do a lot better. What would make me start this thought process is, what's an F4F? It's a multi-role fighter. What's an F6F? It's a multi-role fighter, right? F7, F8, F9. Those are all multi-role fighters. Why Wargaming thought this was a heavy fighter instead, I suspect because it's got two engines. But it really isn't. Even in real life, this was not a heavy fighter. Look at it. It's freaking tiny. It just has two engines, and so Wargaming's process dictates it has to be a heavy fighter. The reality of it is the gun armament, the bomb layout, the maneuverability, the altitude performance. It all leans into this being a multi-role fighter in a heavy fighter's skin. And so it can lead to frustrating games if you're trying to play it as a heavy fighter. I can't reinforce that enough. I'm going to keep repeating myself. I'm going to pull a jingles and just keep saying the same thing over and over again until you guys get it. Anyway, this is your third plane that you're able to win completely for free on the holiday maneuvers. Haven't gotten to that point yet. That's at level 40. I'm at level 23. I haven't even gotten the I-153P that I showcased earlier. Just keep on keeping on at this point. That's why I'm up at, online at 9 o'clock on a freaking Monday morning. Luckily, I've got off this week. Hopefully, I can try to get the P61 this week. And I can have a P61 video for you by New Year's. I'm not going to hold my breath. I wouldn't hold your breath either. We'll see how it goes. And we'll get you some more content. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this particular video. Keep on grinding. The premiums that they've gotten, they can be fun. None of the premiums that you can win this year, the Potes, the I-153P, or the F5F, are considered strong premium planes. They're just not. But they can be fun in their own right. In fact, I absolutely love the Potes. It's just kind of hilarious. And if played right, the I-153P and the F5F can be fun planes. Maybe not good planes, but we'll take fun sometimes. Have a good day. Bye.